Florida State just upgraded their DB coach in a massive way, and Mike Norvell made a huge splash hire. We're here to break it all down for you next. Coming to the channel, thanks for watching the video and thanks for hanging out tonight. A little bit of breaking news tonight that we want to bring to you, but first make sure you're subscribed, comment your thoughts below, and make sure you thumbs up the video as always. Pat Surtain will reportedly be FSU's next defensive backs coach, calling him a secondary coach. Major focus, I would assume, on cornerbacks, but he will be over the entire secondary according to Pete Thamel. Coach Norvell has now tweeted his approval for this as well, with a very cryptic tweet like he normally does after a recruit. And it looks like Florida State has upgraded their defensive backs coach. Marcus Woodson moved on to Arkansas, and a lot of people wondered who would be hired. Well, here just about a week later, Florida State has taken a massive swing, and they've swung for the fences, and they've connected. Hiring from a position of power, which we'll get to later, has Mike Norvell looking really, really good with this DB hire. Pat's an 11-year NFL vet who was a first-team All-Pro in 2002. He's also a three-time Pro Bowler. He was the head coach of American Heritage High School down in South Florida from 2016 to 2021. And this year, he has been a defensive assistant with the Dolphins. He's got big-time South Florida connection, and I think that's huge. Florida State has not recruited South Florida as well as they should have the last few years. They've gotten a few pickups. They've done some good things down there in South Florida, but just haven't done it to the level that we're used to seeing. When they were pulling guys out of South Florida left and right, Jimbo Fisher had things rolling down there, and I think that will be huge and a big reason why Mike went after Pat and got him onto this staff. He's also got NFL experience. My guy had played in the NFL for 11 years. You don't last that long in the NFL without being great. His accolades, his records, his stats speak to that. And I'm really, really excited to see what he can do, not only recruiting down there in South Florida, but also developing guys, knowing the game, knowing how important that is. I think that went into this hire and is what Mike ended up going with. There were rumors about who may come in, who may go. There were guys that had NFL experience that we all kind of thought might get this job, might be rumored to get it. But I do think that Pat's experience combined with his South Florida ties are what were hugely important to Mike Norvell in this hire. There are two big things that I think we need to talk about here, and I want to get to both of those in just a moment, but first we're going to shout out our friends over at Gramco. You can go to thegramco.com right now, and you can use code TJ25 for 25% off at checkout of the best Delta 8 products on the market. That's gummies, pre-rolls, vapes, wake and bake coffee. If you're looking for like an odorless, flavorless mix that you can put into your adult brownies, you can mix into your drinks, whatever you're looking for, they will have you taken care of, and you can save some money at checkout. TJ25, again, they are Noles founded, they're vet owned, they've tailgated with us all year, they're some of the best people I've ever worked with. Thegramco.com, they'll get you taken care of. Make sure you support them and shop there today for all your Delta 8 needs. Again, this comes down to two things for me. And the first thing that I want to talk about is how FSU's DB room has a ton of talent. And I think that we're finally going to see that developed very, very well with Pat Surtain. FSU's DB room is not lacking of talent at all. Akeem Dent was a 5-star recruit. Duke Cooper is somebody who flashed in his freshman year. You just brought in the #1 Power 5 transfer in defensive back, cornerback, Fintrell Cypress. Renardo Green was probably your best defensive back this year. At cornerback, Kevin Noles, Greedy Vance shown flashes at times. You get Shaheem Brown back, and you've got other guys there in the mix that I think are going to benefit greatly from getting Pat Surtain as their coach, as their position coach, as the guy that leads them. I think the talent there has not really been the issue. I don't think that that's a room that you would say is the most talented on Florida State's campus, but it's certainly not lacking. You've got young guys back there as well, and Edwin Joseph and Conrad Hussey that are from that South Florida area that I think will also benefit greatly from Pat Surtain being there in the locker room. Development's #1. That room has not performed to the level that we need it to, and if we want to make the run that we think we're capable of in 2023, they're going to have to. Pat Surtain back there, I think that room potentially takes a huge leap forward. The The other side of it is recruiting. I think that's very, very important. The South Florida ties are massive. You're already seeing guys talk about, oh man, he's got connections with this kid or he's got connections with that kid, whether it be a 5-star in this 2023 class, whether it be a 4-star in 2024, whatever the situation is, Pat Surtain has those connections. And I think that's going to benefit FSU greatly. We'll see how he does on the trail. I'd imagine pretty good. The other thing that this says to me, and this is probably the biggest part, the biggest takeaway from the video, FSU's fully bought in. You don't go out and make a splash hire like this without being fully invested and fully bought in. There have been times where Florida State's tried to go out and make big hires. And last year, due to the results on the field, they just weren't able to make those. This year, with a 10-win season, Florida State was able to open up this checkbook and open up this coaching search to whoever they wanted. There were tons of names floated around this. There was a ton of interest across the country from coaches wanting this job. I've spoken with people directly that have spoken with candidates, and I know that coaches wanted this job who were in consideration. Mike didn't so much have to sell this job as pick who he thought would be best for it. And that is hiring from a position of strength that I don't think Florida State was able to do the last couple of years due to their on-field results. The on-field results have picked up. Guys want to be part of this staff now. They know that Mike is here for the long term. They know that things have turned around, and Mike was able to take his pick of a ton of elite coaches and ended up with Pat Surtain, Pro Bowler, an NFL All-Pro, and Florida State fans should be ecstatic about this. FSU is looking to make a major leap in 2023. We know what the offense is going to look like. It's going to be downright nasty. Jordan Travis is in the top 3 of Heisman odds right now at most books. Florida State's in the top 5 or 10 of national championship odds at most books. We'll see what those ACC odds look like when they come out. But Florida State's offense is going to be very big. What people worry about is the defense. The defense cost them at times last year in certain games. They were able to overcome that at times. You look at Florida, Oklahoma, and Louisville. Sometimes it cost them. You look at Wake Forest and Clemson. Upgrading on defense, not only at that defensive back position, but also getting back guys like Fabian Lovett, Jared Verse, and the linebackers that you brought back is massive. Now you take another step forward with an elite defensive back developer, a guy who's been there, done that, an All-Pro, an NFL veteran, and a guy with South Florida ties who should recruit his absolute tail off for you. I don't think it gets any better than this hire right here. Mike Norvell needed to hit a grand slam with this hire, and he absolutely did that by getting Pat Surtain as Florida State's next secondary coach. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love for you to chime in down there in the comments. We'd love to chat about this. Let me know what you think about Mike Norvell making this hire. I couldn't be more excited. As an FSU fan, I thought secondary was the position group that worried me the most going into last year. And then going into 2023, it's what had me most nervous. We'll see. There's a lot of time before September rolls around, but I do feel really, really good with Pat Surtain leading that defensive back unit. And I think that this could be really, really special to see in Garnet and Gold, that secondary coming up in 2023. Again, big shout out to our friends over at thegramco.com. You can use TJ25 at checkout to get 25% off of all of their Delta 8 products. Thank you guys again so much for the support. We've seen incredible growth on the channel over the last several months and definitely over the last few weeks. We'll bring you up to the minute news and more content like this. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll talk to you guys soon. Go Noles.